The fact of the matter is, whether you've been in network marketing for years or just a few days, your family and friends have seen your opportunity and your phone is, as we call it, burnt. If you're anything like me, that's a scary thought. So the big question is, how do entrepreneurs like us, who love the network marketing profession, who no longer want to be that guy, and are tired of convincing people during uncomfortable let's get coffee meetings where they say, what's this all about? How do we market in a way that aligns us with our dream clients and expands our network of upfront and transparent professionals, allowing us to get our time back, our families back, and gain a real passive asset? People like us who value impact over income, we deserve to see our visions once and for all. Join me in this podcast where we'll uncover just how to do that. My name is Eric Sablon. Welcome to Burnt Phone Marketing. All right, guys, welcome to Burnt Phone Marketing. I'm here with Stuart Webb, one of the premier social media strategists for Drake Automotive right now. He was actually from Anchorage, Alaska, so he came from a small town, and what he noticed was in a small town, you have an issue of being seen worldwide. So what he did was he took social media to a new platform. Stuart's got over 15,000 followers on Instagram and is really driving a whole bunch from what his passion is in trucks and the automotive industry. So Stuart, thank you for jumping on. Thank you for coming here. I'd love for you to just kind of share your backstory on when you saw social media and kind of what it did to you and how it transformed what you were. Also, can you tell me about your backstory on becoming a fitness professional as well, because I think our listeners will really like that.
I wouldn't say a fitness professional, but I love bodybuilding and things like that. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it, and just being on here it means a lot. I love the company, everything you've done. So just got to start off with that. Social media to me is just so much more because number one, it's a living. But being up in Alaska, I couldn't see anybody. I couldn't get out, and just basically I wanted companies to see me, to see where I was at. And anyone that's lived in Alaska or been in Alaska, it's so remote. It's out in the middle of nowhere. And being in the auto industry where everyone in the lower 48 had they had the opportunity to go to shows. They had the opportunity to go to the SEMA show, which is like the ultimate trade show in the industry. I didn't have that opportunity. So I took to social media, whether it be Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and I started building a brand. And I think that was the biggest thing I wanted to do, was creating my own brand, creating my own unique platform where I could show who I was. And that's what started off about 4 or 5 years ago when I first started off in the auto industry, because I wanted to get a hold of sponsors. I wanted to see and just basically document my journey down through the whole thing. And through social media, I was able to actually start getting to SEMA, and one thing led to another, and then now I'm here in Vegas.
That is so awesome. So one thing that you said was it took 4 to 5 years to actually build a platform.
Yes.
So what would be, and one thing that I really, really enjoy about your story is you took something that you were passionate about, an industry that you were passionate about, and you've turned it into a living. So, a lot of our listeners out there are like, well, how do I do that? So I'm going to ask you a couple questions on a couple of tips how to do that. But The first thing I want to say is, guys, listen, it took 4 to 5 years of him being consistent with building a brand. If you've seen his posts, they're not once a day. He's always documenting his journey. He's always showing, he's always multiple times. So you said something about the SEMA show. So I'd really like you to kind of walk us through that, because that's big picture. That's huge. That's like ultimate stage, ultimate platform. And if you don't know what the SEMA show is, it's in Vegas. It takes over, 3/4 of the Las Vegas Convention Center. And what was the big drive to get to the SEMA show? And how did you end up doing it? And how did you end up, really propelling yourself to say, you know what, I'm going to go to the SEMA show. I'm going to bring Excalibur. I'm going to show the people and give them a platform where I can be shown on the big stage?
So for those listening, Excalibur is my nickname for my truck and kind of the brand I've built off of that, and kind of how I identified myself in the industry. So the SEMA show is the largest trade show in the industry, and being up in Alaska, I told myself, well, I can't go to a national show. Why don't I just go to the biggest trade show in the industry? So I knew that was the secret. So I started through social media, I started networking and just writing every company I could. I literally hopped on and wrote every company I was interested in, or every person that was in my related niche, and just said, hey, I'm up in Alaska. I can't really promote myself. How can I work with you? And I did that. I literally grinded for about a year, just writing every single person I could until somebody responded to me. And once that person responded, I started working with them. And then I started working with the next company. I started working with the next company. And then I finally got to SEMA in 2015. That was my first year for SEMA. And I came down because I say, okay, I have to go in person. I have to see these people. So I connected with them on social media. And then I went down to the SEMA show in person. And I went to every single person I wrote on social media, and I shook their hand, gave my face to the name, and said, hey, let me work with you. This is who I am. This is what I want to do. And then in 2016, I did it again. In 2017, I did it again. So this is 3 years of just grinding away while I was trying to turn. I never thought my passion would be turning to a way of living, but I wanted to blend both of those in there. And it was all through social media, mainly Instagram and a lot through Facebook. And then in summer of 2018, I was able to work with the company. I was able to find a couple people just because of the grind I've been doing for the past 3 years. I found a company who's willing to work with me. And then the problem came of, they're like, okay, how are you going to get the truck down? You're all the way up in Alaska. And that was the big issue, because shipping's not cheap. And I told them I would drive down. They're like, you're crazy. Because no one does that. No one, let alone a build, like a SEMA build, because everyone knows that when you get there, this is a big trade show, especially any kind of show. The last thing you want is to drive a vehicle 3,200 miles through anything and everything to get it to the show. But how I see life, it's, every risk, every big reward has a big risk.
Right.
And I knew this was a big risk to take, and anything could have happened on that trip. So me and the shop owner, we didn't know what we're doing, but we just hopped in the truck and took off to Vegas. We got our invite, and we're just like, we're going to do this one way or another. We documented that whole journey all the way down in, it was the end of October. So roads were just starting to become pretty bad in Alaska, and we made it all the way down there. And doing that is what the biggest drive was, I think, to show the companies that, hey, they're pretty serious if they're driving all the way down from Alaska. And we got down there, and they're just like, wow, you're actually here. And I'm like, well, I kept my word. I shook my hands on it. I spent the last 3 years talking to you guys that I would do this. And they're like, yeah, you did. And here I am. And it kind of set a standard in the industry. I don't know if that makes sense, but I believe I set a trend, and it's kind of how I made my name for myself, that I'm that Alaska guy who was crazy enough to drive 3,200 miles. And then I drove back up, and then I drove back down again for this job. But having that opportunity and just using social media for that is basically how I created my name for myself, because I took that risk, and I just jumped to it. I think that's the biggest thing a lot of people don't do. The opportunity's there, and they never just jump at it.
Never grab it.
They just kind of, oh, what if, and they never just jump at it. And that was the biggest thing I think I see in the industry lately, because there's so many opportunities now, especially with social media, and people aren't grabbing it. They're just kind of, it's just, let me not, it's just, that's the biggest thing I think.
They're making excuses for themselves. Definitely making excuses for themselves.
There's so much potential. There's so many people with potential out there, and they're just not jumping for it.
Right.
And they could be going so much further in their lives. And I write them on social every day. And I'm like, hey, I see potential in you. take this opportunity, and they you know, they don't.
They're
So
just
that's
hesitating, and
yeah.
hesitation can kill you. And that's one of the cool things that I noticed about you is when you saw something, and we actually call it the Dream 100. And
Okay.
that's something that we teach from one of the books that I read is it's basically called the Dream 100. And you
Okay.
did the Dream 100 to a T. So you reached out, you called them, you talked to
Okay.
them, you were in front of them. They knew who you were. They knew what they were doing. And then when they gave you the opportunity, you jumped at it with both feet. You said you're going to drive down. And what's awesome about that is, think about that. One of my mentors tells me it's dream, struggle, victory. And you basically ran through all of those. So you had the dream to be at SEMA. You went through the struggle because how am I going to get there? And then the victory is you're there right now representing a car company that you probably met while you were working your Dream 100.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the craziest thing.
That is, and you can tell you're loving it because I keep seeing all of your posts about how cool you're actually networking even more. So you've taken what you did on social media, and now you can be in front of those people.
Yep.
The people that you want to be in front of, you can be in front of them face to face, and you're still the Alaska guy because you planted your flag in the sand and said, you know what, I'm the Alaska in the snow. I'm the Alaska guy that did this.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's the biggest thing too. A lot of people don't lay the framework too. Like it still took me 3 years of putting my name out there, because so many people just want to hop out and just, you know, they think their brand will suddenly blow up. And I mean, it could, but I think that's the biggest thing too. Is there's a lot of groundwork before that, that a lot of people never see. I think in a way.
It's that whole iceberg thing when they see everybody, like the one that
the tip of the iceberg.
Today,
yeah.
you posted today, it showed, you know, you on the top, or you know, somebody on top of the platform, but it showed everything that they did to get there, and the framework and the foundation. A lot of people just want instant gratification because that's the kind of,
yes, sir,
that's what we're in. However, if you're in there really driving and really putting in the day-to-day work, you're gonna be on.
It'll show in the long run.
Showing the story about what you did. So I respect you in all of the social media stuff that you've done, and you created a huge following, like I said, and you used the Dream 100, and you didn't even know what it's called, but it's called the Dream 100.
Well, I do now.
So I want to kind of help some of my listeners. So you've created social media following for yourself, for Excalibur, and now you're doing it professionally for Drake Automotive Group.
Yes,
what are 3 tips you give the audience just starting out to help them grow their social media? Because there's a lot of gurus out there that, you know, say do this, and there's a lot of bots and a lot of this and a lot of that. And what I noticed is you grew it organically with real stuff. So what would be 3 tips that you would give a new someone starting out brand new, wanting to build their brand? What would they be?
The first one, and I think the biggest one, is be genuine. Social media kind of exemplifies who you are, and if you're fake even a little bit, it'll show you so much. Like if you're a fake person, I don't mean like in a bad way, it'll just exemplify like any kind of character traits you have. So, you know, if you're not a genuine person, if you're not coming across, this is who I am, or this is what the brand I want to build to the following, the people you want to, you know, network with, people will pick up on that so fast, and it'll destroy the brand, or destroy like what you're trying to create within, you know, pretty quick. That's the biggest one, I would say. Just be genuine overall. Secondly is you have to put in the work. I think people, and you know, that's a given, but people don't understand what it is to network and to write and to go on Instagram DMs and be like, hey, this is who I am, because you can't expect people to know who you are. I mean, you can't be an influencer or a blogger or anybody out there if you don't go to these people and just introduce yourself. And that's, you really have to put in the work, you know. So, you know, number 1, be genuine. Number 2, put in the work. The biggest one, I mean, the last one I would say is just you have to be patient. To me, I wanted that instant gratification, like you mentioned earlier. It's just, you want that right away, especially because we live in this microwave generation, and with social media, it's so quick. There's so much going on, but in the long run, establishing a built brand is just basically being patient, putting in the work and just being patient day by day by day. Eventually you'll see results. It could take a month. It could take years, which it took me years, and people didn't know what Excalibur was until years and years later. And I was just consistent, which is something I brought. You mentioned earlier, my fitness community. I've been lifting and bodybuilding for almost a decade now, actually over a decade. So I'm used to going and learning, just going to the gym every single day. And 10 years later, I am where I am now because I put in the work and I knew the time it takes. And for those listening, I really would just want to emphasize that it does, besides all the work you have to do, you have to be patient. You have to put in that grind and just be patient in the long run. And above all, be genuine.
Right.
Those
are three huge ones. Number one, be genuine. Number two, put the work in. And number three, be patient. And,
yes, sir.
Like you said, it took you 3 to 4 years of really just posting and taking it to the next level to get where you are.
Yep.
So the last thing, the one of the other questions I want to give you, okay, a guy has been on Instagram and he's got a decent following. He's actually doing well. What would be the one tip that you give that person to scale his following on Instagram or Facebook? One of either one.
To like a call to action to say basically this, if he's selling a product, or just to get his name out there, like if he's already established a brand.
Probably. So number one, he's probably, let's say he's at 5,000 to 7,000 followers, and he wants to really boost it up. What would be your suggestion to him, or your one tip to help him blow up to the 20, 30?
Well, I think with that person's already established and they're doing a good job, if they already got to that level, there's so much room for improvement. I would say keep doing what they're doing because they're doing something right if they're growing up to that level. Another one is especially I've seen on Instagram, a lot of the traffic's now flowing to Instagram, which is why there's so much attention there now. Mm-hmm. I still stay on Facebook, but there's so much media attention on Instagram. Is basically get into that niche for whatever you're doing, whether it be travel, automobiles, fitness, lifestyle, whatever that is, to really grow that brand. I would say actually go to all the pages and physically talk to as many people as you can. Like actually go to the hashtags, the relevant hashtags, and go to all their profiles and say, hey, this is who I am. Can we work together? And, I'm sure you did that to initially establish the brand, but if that person wants to take it farther, do it even more. It's just, you have to double it and to really, really push it out. And you'll see it grow from like 5,000 to 10,000. And you could say overnight, but it will literally grow very, very quickly.
And that's genuine. That's real.
And that's real organic people.
Real organic growth, which is important.
And I will tell you too, with Instagram's algorithms now, you try to plug it into any bot, and I don't have anything against the bot people and people that run bots, and I think they're a good asset, but Instagram's algorithms do see that now, and they will shut your page down pretty quickly. They'll shadow ban it, and especially on Facebook as well. So just for anyone listening that thinks that bot growth or they can just buy followers, it would be the secret. Nope. You get shut down really quick, and I'm a professional, so I see this all the time. So just a heads up.
Okay, and the last thing that I want to ask, I got two questions I'm going to ask you. So the big thing, the big thing that you did was you moved to Vegas just recently to follow your passion. So you uprooted, I have notes here that says uprooted and moved to Vegas to follow a dream.
Yeah.
Can you tell us what you did to kind of use that lifestyle change to even blow up the Instagram following even more? Because I think you documented the whole trip all the way down. And that's one thing that I like to tell people is like, document your journey, because people relate to your journeys and your failures more than they relate to your successes. So touch base on, what you did there and how you basically drew everybody through in their journey.
Well, I was grinding away, just doing what I do up in Alaska, and had through social media, I knew a company owner, and he wrote me and he said, "Hey, we have this opportunity. Do you want it?" And I still didn't know as much as I do now as social media at the time, but they always say, when you have an opportunity of a lifetime, just say yes and then learn more about it later. And that's basically what I did. I said, okay. And I sacrificed everything. I gave up everything because I knew this was an opportunity of a lifetime. Um, and going back to the documenting part, and that's very, very true. Like anyone that's people can see what you're going through. If you document everything, and if you say you don't have any content to post, just document what you're doing, document the grind, document document what took you to get there. I mean, I was out driving and losing my mind between 15-hour stretches of road, so I would literally just turn on the camera and sprout random things and talk about what I was going through. And when I got back to internet connection and I posted that up, people loved it. They're like, "Oh, hey, I can relate to this." And that's
Yeah, and
kind of
that's
how I've built that network with people that say, "Oh, I can relate to you." It's because they saw that I'm not this big social media guru. I was just driving down from Alaska, trying not to lose my mind. And they saw that. They're like, "Hey, I can relate to this guy." And I feel like those listening could do the same. If you don't have to be up there, you just have to show that journey, that what it took to get there. That's basically what I did from the drive down, the first time and the second time from Alaska to Vegas. So, yeah.
well, Stuart. I always ask everybody this last question, and it's actually pretty deep. They always say it's super deep. In your business, that you're doing, I know you were doing social media kind of on your own, but now you're doing it with the company. In your
Yeah.
business, what's the one thing, positive or negative, that keeps you up at night in your business?
Ooh, that is deep. um, do you mean that keeps me going?
Either keeps you going, keeps you up, keeps you down, whatever it is. I mean,
I think the biggest thing that kept me going, whether, and this can be a good and bad thing too, is I'm meeting these people now, Eric. Like, now that I'm down here, I'm meeting everyone that writ me for years, that supported me since day one. They knew me since day one. And I've already put my face to the name, but I'm meeting all these people now, and I'm realizing I can't let these people down. That was the turning point for me when I met some of these people down here, and I looked them straight in the eye, and I was like, I could see it. Like that, to me, when they look me in the eye and say, "Hey, you inspired me. I'm at this point in my life because I saw you do this, and I'm here where I am now." And some of them were in bad spots, just like where I was. And they're like, "You made it." I'm like, "No, I made it because of you."
right.
And it's like this network where people I've never met in my life, like I can connect with them, they can connect with me, and it goes back to documenting all that, the struggle and stuff. But I wouldn't say it's the followers. I don't like to say that. I like to call it a family, and that's how I kind of connect my network, and everyone in that group of people. I can't let them down. I think that's what keeps me at night. It's like I have to keep going. I have to keep going. This is who I am. And when I had nobody backing me up, I turned on the camera, I turned on Instagram Live, and I would have all these people who hop on and be
All
like,
these
"Yo,
people,
what's
yeah.
up? How you doing?" And that's what kept me going, and why I reached where I am. Even now, I tell myself, and I see these people who look up to me and write me every single day, and they're like, "Hey, I'm going through this. What do I do?" And that motivates me to be like, okay, I day to day, I'm going to keep going because they see me. I am where I am in life, and this is just another stepping stone to me.
Right.
And I want this to be the same for everyone else, and for those listening. It's you could just use it for another stepping stone and just be like, all right, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? And to me, like I said, I can't let those people down. That's the biggest thing for me.
That is so awesome. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to post all of your Facebook, your Instagram, all of your feed in the description of this podcast, so people will be able to follow you and maybe get a few more followers, like you need it, but a few more followers.
Like my job is.
And then, I just want to say thank you. I appreciate it. Like I said, guys, it took him 4 years to get where he is now. He had a great backstory. He worked the Dream 100. The 3 tips were: be genuine, put the work in, and be patient, and you can get to where you are. And remember, document everything, because it's dream, struggle, and that's where most people relate to you, victory. So guys, thank you, Stuart. Thank you for jumping on. I appreciate you. We'll do this again for sure. It's an honor that you jumped on my podcast, and we will get this out to everybody. And again, Eric Sablon, Burnt Phone Marketing. I'll catch you guys later. I know that marketing can be tough. So what I did for you guys is I put together a free summit with 30 of the top internet marketers in the world. Basically what they're doing is they're sharing their story. If they lost everything, what would they do? So I put it in the description of this podcast. Also, if you go to it, it's www.burntphonechallenge.com/summit OFA. So go ahead and go and link to that. It's free. Enjoy the training, and we'll see you on another episode of Burnt Phone Marketing.